21st century, mankind has colonized the last unexplored region on Earth, the ocean. As captain of the Seaquest and its crew, we are its guardians. For beneath the surface lies the future.
Alright, welcome back. We started the reconstruction of the Stinger. As you saw in the last video, we cut out the new fuselage pieces, which are right here. Okay, I used some thinner styrene backings to lie inside the walls of the ship itself. I had to be careful of the thickness because if it's too thick, this piece won't fit in. But to make it a little easier, I also made some notches on the sides here. Okay, so we glued those in, let them set very well, and then we started with these pieces. And what I had to do is I was able to conform them a little bit to the shape of the hull. Once I got them in a relatively close shape, glued them down to the bottom, clamped them up, and let them set overnight. Once they were good and solid on the bottom, applied some glue to the back on this side, clamped the top, and then with a heat gun just lightly went over it to help it conform to the curve of the ship. Okay, and let that set overnight, and then again we moved over to this side, did the same thing. So now we've got the walls in place. So next we're going to have to go and we're going to have to do some filling. We're going to fill up these grooves here, going to fill up these notches in here on both sides, and we're going to go from there. There's a little bit of adjustment here, but looking pretty good so far. A lot more like the Stinger from the TV show. So, be right back. Alright everyone, we're back. Right now the Stinger is in the other room drying. We went one round of filler, sanding, and now it's priming so I can find out what needs to be done next. I figure it's going to need at least 1 or 2 more coats of that. In the meantime, I decided to turn my attention to the pilot of our Stinger. Now in season 1, the pilots in season 1 the crew of the Seaquest wore black overalls. To paint this all black, of course, would just, kind of bury them in the blend everything together. You wouldn't see any detail. So what I decided to do is I'm going to go for more of a season 2, season 3 pilot, where they went to a dark navy type color. I figured the dark blue color would allow me to do some weathering and shadowing and stuff like that, and still be relatively visible through the cockpit. It won't just be this black blob. So what I'm going to be using is this Americana's navy blue. I figured it should give us a nice color, and then adding the decals to his uniform and everything, it should make it pop pretty well, I think. So that's where we're going to be. So give me a minute and we'll be right back. Alright, so we're still working on the Stinger cockpit right now, and its pilot specifically. As you recall, the cockpit itself is pretty much done. just about done, not completely done, but the pilot, I just about got him finished. Now the kit is molded, excuse me, in black. And what I did on the pilot is I added gray primer to him, gave him an overall shot of gray primer, and then what I did is using some finer sandpaper, not real fine, but you know, whatever the brown tester's color is, grit, sanded him down roughly and unevenly, so he was the gray wore away in some spots and the black shone through and so forth like that. So it made him all different kind of you know, colors, not colors, but more of like a black gray mix. Okay, then using the Americana navy blue, I painted him, and I didn't, well, back up a second, I didn't want to go at all black because you wouldn't see the definitions in the uniform. It would just be lost through the canopy of all black. So by doing the two-tone with the primer and sanding it through to the black, and then doing the navy blue color, it actually shows highlights and so forth in his uniform, without really doing anything other than just giving it a couple coats of paint. The uniform, I went with the red collar. They had different colors, like Bridger had a white collar. A couple of the others, I forget what different ones they had off the top of my head, but some of them did have red, and I chose the red just because it stands out so well against the blue. And again, just completely for definition more than accuracy, I made his cuffs on his jumper red also. His paint, the color I use for his skin tone is a that one. Give me a second here. I use the Model Masters skin tone shadow. Okay, that's the color. Gave it a little dark color. I'm not going to go into depth in doing some pre-shading or anything like that on him. Again, it's all going to be lost under the canopy. It's just not really worth it. However, I may give a little bit of a wash over the face and the hands just to bring out some of the definitions in both. Haven't decided yet, but very well may do that with a brown wash. Next for him, I have to lock in the steering column. Just laying that on top of it right now, just give you an idea what it looks like. And I'm probably going to do a little bit more hose work here. You know, just again, points of interest, make it look a little different, a little cluttered. And I'm going to create a harness for his uniform. So to do that, back out a second. What I did is from one of the sprue trees, you can see these round pieces at the joints of the meeting here. I cut one off. I got it right here. And then, so what I want to do is use this as the buckle. And then I got this tape. Okay, this is kind of good tape to use for your seatbelts and stuff. As you can see, it's got a texture on it. I think I had mentioned this before, but I work in a hospital, and this kind of stuff is hanging out all the time on what we call cows, computer on wheels, and every now and then I get them to give me a roll or two, and this will last quite a long time. So I'm going to lace them out, cut some strips, probably just using a felt tip marker, color it in, and we're going to go from here to the hard points that I made in the seat. You can see it right there. I cut the holes in the seat and I added a rod behind it to act as a hard point. So I'm going to attach the tape to there, go over his shoulder, and then down to the middle of his belly where I'll have the belt buckle that I made. Now the part that sucks about that is it's going to go right over the decals, so you're going to miss the two decals, but again, through the canopy, you're not really going to notice as much. And you'll still see the one on his hat, and he's got one on his shoulder, as you can see there. He's got a really nice UEO patch on his shoulder here. You can actually make it out. Focus. There you go. See? Yeah, you can see that UEO. So, that is something. But anyway, that's where we are, and we'll be right back. Alright, so here's what I did. Sorry I did this off camera, but I wasn't really sure what I was going to be doing. But here's what I did. I took a piece of the tape, this stuff here, laid it out here on the mat, and followed, or just put it out over the mat, and then using a straight edge, I created a straight line, and I cut it. And then using each one of these little blocks that are here on my bench, my mat, basically for each one of these I made the tape that long, or that wide should I say, and then just cut the strip and left it in place using a nice thick Sharpie marker. Colored it in using the straight the blade. I was able to pop it up, pull it off, and then I fed, excuse me, sorry, and I fed one end of the tape through the holes here over top of the hard point that I made, laid it down against the back of the seat, and glued it in place. Now I'm just waiting for that to dry. Now eventually the goal is to have our pilot put into place as such. Lay these down, and the back is still sticky, so I can just kind of stick it to them. And then what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll be able to glue that into location on the pilot himself, and it'll look like it belongs there, hopefully. And then I'm contemplating whether I should do the ones coming up around his waist also, but again it comes down to, will it be seen through the canopy? Again, we've all been there. We've all detailed the hell out of something and then it's never seen again. So again, for sake of time, you know, should I, shouldn't I? I'm not really sure. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how this next step goes, but I want to wait for the glue on these to dry so I don't pull them out. So that probably gonna have to wait overnight because it's getting kind of late here. But that's where we stand with that.